My name's Trina Nicole. I am a dancer, content creator, and entrepreneur.
Interesting. So, as an entrepreneur, what is it that you cover?
So I run a digital platform called Culture UK, which is a celebration of natural hair and black beauty. And I also run a dance class, which is specifically dedicated to plus size women called the Curve Catwalk.
How did it all start? What was there one thing that came before the other?
Yes, so it all started with culture. I have to separate the two because some people might know me for culture, some people might know me for the Curve Catwalk. So I guess me and my best friend, Jay, we really were just embarking on a hair journey, a natural hair journey. So she would come to me all the time and be like, oh, like I've seen this product or I found this blogger, look at her hair. Like at this point, my hair was straight, it was heat damage. I dyed it blonde. It was just a mess. And also at the time, which is like 2014, I think in America, like the natural hair movement was like a big thing. There were so many natural hair bloggers, etc. But that wasn't really happening in the UK. So times where we would like learn about certain new products on the market or whatever, whatever, you couldn't get stuff here because it was all focused in America. So we were like, who's talking about it here in the UK? Like who's discussing this? Back then, now of course loads of people are, but back then not many people were. So we would have conversations amongst ourselves about natural hair, like when we're really reflecting, whether it's our family, like who in our family is wearing their natural hair, whether it's in the media, not seeing many people rocking their natural hair, kind of starting questioning these things like, why is that? Why do people not? Why don't we see that much? I think it was a lot of like relaxers, weaves back then was like the thing. I remember asking my mum to relax my hair. She was like, no. I was like, not until you're 18. And I got to 18 and I was like, no, I don't think I want to do this, you know. Um, there were so many questions and we would just have these conversations amongst ourselves. Yeah, and we just kind of thought, yeah, no one's really talking about this in the UK. We always just seen these American bloggers talk about it. So yeah, the conversations we would have, like you would amongst friends, we decided to put it on a blog. Started a WordPress, very straightforward, very simple. Started a YouTube, and then yeah, I think set up an Instagram. Um, and I think also because there was two of us, it was just the dynamic was different. So me, my hair's more kinky, coily, if you want to say that. Jay's hair is more curly. So I think
What does
having
kinky mean?
different kinky, I would say it's like more coarse, like more afro textures, more afro textured. So we have different textured hair. So I guess the perspective of what we would talk about in terms of hair care was then different, but on one platform. And I think that really was the catalyst for why our page and our Instagram and our following just grew and just shot off, because it was just something different. So now we have over like 46,000 followers, and that's over the course of like 8 years, 7 years, nearly 8 years. Um, just talking about, whether it's looking after your hair, tips, tricks, products, all that stuff, because loads of people were really interested, but I think the information, well, let me not even say the information wasn't there. The information was there. So that started off and that grew really, really quickly. Um, and I think it was also important because it was really a journey of like a lot of learning and unlearning, or relearning should I say, because so many myths when it comes to afro textured hair. I remember growing up and it being like, don't wash your hair too much, or having to grease the scalp. Even to this day, and I used to think this when I was younger, but even to this day, people saying, oh, but black hair doesn't grow, things like that, or black girls always have short hair and that's why they're wearing weaves and stuff like that. But really and truly, I think there's a lot to just to look at there, especially when it comes to history and European standards of beauty, and why a lot of black women, for example, choose to wear their hair straight. I think there's a lot there rather than just being like everyone hates their hair.
So, do you think that we could unpack some of those beauty standards and why black women have been coerced into feeling like their hair is not gorgeous or beautiful?
Yeah, 100%. Literally from every angle of society. So it being like, there's so many cases that you hear about Afro hair not being professional, or you'll hear terminologies even still now like nappy and picky. Um, yeah, as kids in school, like being kicked out of school or being sent home because whether they have like locks in their hair, whether their hair's braided, um, and if I'm going back to history, about like the pencil test of like whether you put a pencil in the test and like put a pencil in the hair, whether the pencil would stay or drop. Do you know what I mean? Means how black you are, things like that. We also had to like cover our hair back in. There's just so much, and I feel like through generations, a lot of that still exists here today. Literally, still exists.
No, go on. No, no.
Because I was gonna talk about like culture appropriation when people are like, oh yeah, but if white people have braids or whatever, it's a problem. But actually, all black women, I've heard this phrase. This is not from me. All black women wear straight hair, and it's not a problem. But it's not that black and white, literally. So yeah, I too went through that stage.
What is it? If it's not black and white, what is it?
Because you have to take history into context. Do you get what I'm trying to say? If you're talking about centuries where you're told your hair's not good enough, you're looking unprofessional, etc., etc., you can't just erase that. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Whereas our white counterparts haven't had those same experiences. So it's literally that simple. It's not.
So
do you get what I'm saying?
What would you say to some of the younger viewers who are either considering going on a hair journey,
Mhm.
or who don't really like their natural hair,
Mhm.
or if they're in a position where they're being pencil tested, or if they're being, bullied or something like that? What would you say to them?
Yeah, for one, I would say I've been there, so I understand. I'll definitely say it's a journey. Like the reality is, it is a journey, and because I hear a lot about like natural hair is hard to manage, but it's not hard to manage when you know. It's like anything. You think something's difficult if you don't know how to do it. So it's just a case of understanding, learning, knowing why our hair is different. Afro hair is different. Like when I tell people or ask people if they know why our Afro hair grows upwards, is to protect our scalp. Literally, that's to protect our scalp, and why like our white counterpart, it grows because we were in a hot climate. So to protect our scalp, but why our white counterparts are their hair is straight, is to cover their neck and to protect their neck. So when you start actually learning, understanding, some people, young people I speak to, they're like, oh okay, yeah, that's cool. Like they actually understand a bit more. But I would say just to take time. It's a process. Understand how your hair works and not just following what other people do. Yeah.
Could you give us, so of course, there's a lot of interracial relationships, and some of those interracial relationships, the mother is white,
Yeah.
and effectively they would have deal with black kids' heads, and it could be the first time they have to deal with black children's heads.
Yeah.
And then it also applies for parents and of black heritage, fathers that are trying to do their daughters' heads or their son's head. So I'm saying this to ask you: could you give us your top 3 tips for starting
Your journey.
or what to do?
Yeah. Top 3. So our hair is typically Afro hair is typically dry. So I don't know how much you want me to go into, but anyway, so it's about it's really about adding moisture, I would say. I think there's a big myth that oil is a form of moisture. So you'll hear people say, oh, I've added oil in my hair's still dry. Like it's not a source of moisture. So keeping your hair hydrated and moisturized, so using a water-based product, and then using a cream or a leave-in and then sealing it with oil. Washing your hair 7 to 10 days for sure, keeping it healthy, and then using a protective style, because again, talking about how a lot of people say that our hair doesn't grow, but it's just because you're not seeing the length, because our hair is actually quite fragile, so it breaks really easily. So you actually want to protect the hair using a protective style such as braids, plaits, buns, twists, anything like that, anything that sort of protects the ends or where you don't see the ends is a protective style, and then use that to retain length.
And what about the man then with the beards and that?
The man then with the beards. uh, Conditioning, washing, conditioning, and same thing really, like moisturizing, just so it's not dry, because when it's dry, brittle, breakage. So keeping it moisturized, detangling, and yes, using oils, as I think a lot of people do.
And remind us, where can they contact you for hair advice?
You can contact us on probably Instagram's the best bet, which is Culture UK, CURLTURE UK, and there you'll find a lot of advice really, from detangling to deep conditioning, products, styles as well. Because I think, like I was saying before, especially when it comes to styling, for one, hair care and hair styling is not the same. So it's very important to understand that. So like when you're going into shops and you're seeing all these products, understanding, I think it's key to understand what are hair care products and then what are products for hair styling. So styling will be things like the gels, the mousses, the edge slickers, etc. But the fundamental products you need in terms of care would be the shampoos, the conditioners, the deep conditioners, to actually care for the hair, the oils, for example. Yeah.
You started your journey doing culture yourself,
Yes.
and Jay. And obviously you said you're an entrepreneur. So
Yes.
what was your next step from that?
Yeah, so that platform was going well, and I just realized how much people really appreciated representation. And through posting on culture, a lot of people would compliment me on my confidence, and whether it's my size, the clothes I would wear, whether it's, that platform was just about hair, but it would always go beyond hair. So I used to dance when I was younger. It's just a part of me. And I was just like, yeah, you know what? I want to dance more. Like, this is something I enjoy. Why don't I do it much? When you're just thinking, like, there's things in life I really enjoy. Am I actually doing the things that bring me joy? Dance is one of those, and I wasn't doing it. So I embarked on looking at dance classes around London, trying different classes, and I was just like, yo, what is this? Like, I was not enjoying the experiences at all. I think because I just wanted to go and have fun, literally, just have a vibe, free up myself, and that's it. And I was going to these dance classes where it was so intense, and like they were training you, and I would consider myself having a good level of confidence. But I remember going into these spaces and feeling like I literally just had to shrink myself. I'll be hiding in the back. And typically that's not me as a person. So it was such a juxtaposition of like, oh, dancing is something that I really love. I'm quite confident. It brings me joy. But now I'm in these spaces that are actually making me feel othered, and I'm having to hide and shrink at the back. It was this weird feeling. And I would get like backhanded comments, like people I know were trying to be positive, but backhanded comments of people being like, oh, like, you can dance for a big girl, like, okay, you're doing quite well considering. Basically saying that I don't fit the archetype of like what a dancer should look like. Like, they're kind of just shocked. I was like, why are you shocked? Or if you think I can dance, just say, oh, you can dance, that's it. Why I have to bring other things into it? So from that, I just got frustrated. So the business was really born out of frustration. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to start my own space. I hired a studio and got some of my friends together. And I said, hey, I want to teach you a dance routine. Literally didn't think anything of it. I did that. And their friends started telling their friends. And it just spiraled from there, really. Every month, they were like, please, can you do it again? Started doing it again. Then what I started noticing is that they were bringing women to the class who were like either curvy or a bit thick or a bit chubby or plus, whatever word you want to use. And I was just like, okay. And after the classes, people were talking to me like, you know what, I've never come to a dance class and like seen someone that looks like you leading the class. And then I realized that actually the fact that it is me at the class, this is why these women are coming back. And that was even more like me understanding that representation really matters, and it's actually really important that they're seeing someone like me at the front of the class, and they had never seen it before. I had never seen it before. And so although it was never my intention to start a class that was for plus size women, because I didn't even know what that term even meant, it then became a thing, and that's how the brand was born.
So So with that, obviously you started doing your classes, like you said, and then that leads us on to what next?
Yeah, so from there, the community starts growing for one. And then I realized there's actually nothing like this here. Obviously, you can find loads of this in America, and there was things popping off in America, but in the UK, there was nothing like this here. So I was like, okay, this is actually the first thing. So I branded it as the UK's first plus size dance class. The community started growing, have over 8,000 women in the community, and started getting attention, just mad attention from press. By this point, we had been running for about 6 months. The BBC contacted us. We did like this massive story feature at the BBC that went viral. And then I think from there, there was some interest in me doing a commercial, which was actually for Sainsbury's. I did a commercial for Sainsbury's that went viral, was on billboards, on TV. I was just showing up to have a good time. But again, it was that representation of like, rah, there's this black plus size woman with her afro dancing on TV. It just, everyone went crazy. And from there, then we performed with Lizzo at Glastonbury for the BBC. So again, that was on TV. That then went viral. It was just like people were so shocked to see actually someone who looks like me can actually be living their best life, can dance, can move. So we started getting a lot of this interest. Yeah, like I said, the community started growing, started working with a lot of brands, doing a lot of press. And the most recent thing to date is that I have a collaboration, an ambassadorship with Nike as you have to say, which I learned is Nike. I was just like, yeah, I've got used to saying Nike now. And again, they were really interested in my work with the Curve Catwalk, and it was more from a place of community and what I've been doing with the community and shining a light on these women, moving their body from a place of joyful movement. I think often when you think about it, if you see somebody who's not slim, someone who's not skinny, whether it's in the media or whatever, it's either the exaggerated hourglass, BBLs and all that type of thing is like become a big thing, or it's like you're super obese and you're unhappy with your life and you're miserable and you have to go on this massive diet. So I think to actually see that you have this whole community of women who are all different sizes, just actually moving and living their best life and just being happy, just shocked a lot of people. So that's something that Nike backed. From that ambassadorship, I have, just had billboards on the main Piccadilly Circus digital billboard, which I didn't even know that was the largest in Europe. So I was like, go on with my bad self. Doing the splits as well. I had my hair in, and even for that shoot, I was like, when they said this was going to happen, I was going to be in Piccadilly, I was going to be on the Tottenham Court Road, massive billboard, I was going to have my own billboard in Stratford. Straight away, I said, you know what, I want my hair to be in braids, because usually I'm always really conscious of that representation. So usually I always have my hair in afro. I've done a lot of commercials, etc., with my hair in afro, and this time, I don't know what came to me, but I was just like, something about my childhood came to me, and I was like, this is such a moment. So many young black women are going to see me. I want my hair in braids, because when I was young, that was always the style. And I wanted beads in my hair, because that's just how I remember dancing, had beads in my hair, had extensions, had the braids. So I was like, I want braids. And for this 15-second video clip, it's me dancing, and I jump into the splits. So I got comments of people being like, oh, okay, you just like really representing. I was like, yes, I'm glad, because that's literally what it was for me. And I'm just happy that it also just represented a whole community as well. So, yeah.
So just a quick question of what you're saying, and congratulations on all your accolades. It's sick.
Thank
really
you.
Inspiring. What I found interesting about everything that you've done, it's amazing, is you saying something came to you in your childhood that you needed to put braids on. Now, the question that I am asking is, in terms of blackness, what would you say is quote unquote blacker? Yeah? the
Blacker.
afro type look or the braids?
Both.
Both equally.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
so then what is it about your childhood that made you want to have the braids in? Other than the dancing, was it anything other than
No,
taking
that's
the
how my hair always was as a
okay.
child. Like, looking back, where like cane rows, my hair was always in cane rows like as a child, and I think typically a lot of well, looking back on childhood, a lot of black people can probably say, yeah, I had cane rows when I was younger, or doo plaits or whatever. Do you get what I mean? So it's like that's just how my hair always was a child. And I really took pride in it. I always wanted like little patterns and like I said, the beads, the little coloured hair bubbles and things like that. So straight away when I was thinking about where this was going to be seen, and I was really thinking about representation, I was thinking about the younger generation specifically, to be honest. And that's why the braids comes into mind. If I'm thinking about like, I don't know, 12, 11, 13, that type of age, like their hair will probably be cane rows or in braids, you know? So I just wanted them to see themselves, and I thought that was really important to me.
So, quick question on the other side. With all the, I say, good press, accolades, and celebrations
Yeah.
that have come, have you faced any negativity from the stuff that you've done?
Not as much as I thought. Luckily,
Oh,
yeah. I was ready. I was waiting for it, definitely.
Why?
But
Why was you waiting for it?
because it's not seen, right? Like if I was to go by pop culture or the media, someone like me doesn't even exist. By what I see, I don't even exist. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's not seen, so that's why it's like a shock to people, whether it's to do with my size, the fact that I'm black, like, do you get what I'm trying to say? So all of these things is that intersect of like, not only am I plus size, but I'm also a black woman on a big billboard, like working with Nike. Well, why does she get to do something like that, you know?
Have you had any or much negative?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I'm promoting an unhealthy lifestyle, even through dancing. Yeah, like just I guess more just things like why would Nike support something like this or support someone like me? A lot of these questions. Yeah, like I said, promoting an unhealthy lifestyle with the curved catwalk, shouldn't be seen. But really, I'm talking like 1%, honestly.
But nothing direct to you.
No.
That's good.
And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm shocked.
That in itself is representation.
I'm shocked, but it's been amazing in terms of, the feedback.
Oh, great. So what's the next thing for Trina Nicole? Have you already got things in the pipeline?
No. I wish I knew. So my ambassadorship is still in place. So some events, was planning some events. Hopefully, all this stuff in the world is so it was meant to be some events, meant to be touring with the Curve Catwalk, just regional. So like going to Birmingham, Manchester, had Leeds and Liverpool. Was meant to be doing that. So hopefully that can still go ahead. And setting up classes, expanding the business, so having other people teach as well, because I'm one person, I can't do everything. So I have 2 other dance instructors and hoping to have more. And then having an opportunity to work with more brands. So off the back of the Nike stuff, I then did a campaign for British Vogue, which was sick. I was like, British Vogue, wait, what? Did a campaign for them which was called Force for Change, and again about representation, about what dance means to me and how it's allowed me to impact so many other women just through being myself. And I always say that like authenticity like is my superpower, and I say that because I literally was just showing up as myself. I wasn't trying to be anything. Like I said, I wasn't even trying to be an entrepreneur, start a business. I didn't have no business plan, nothing like that. It was just me wanting to do the things that I wanted to do, and just trying to be the best version of myself. But as time was going on, I think I realised how much eyes were on me and how much people were actually taking inspiration from me. But I wasn't trying. Do you know what I mean? I was just being me. I was just showing up. I mean, I realised how powerful that was. So my thing now is just like everyone can contribute to change. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying, oh, now because I've been on a billboard with Nike, like everything's going to be different, everything's going to be better. But I know that I've at least contributed, and I genuinely believe that everybody can contribute, whether it's just within their household, whether it's within their own community, their siblings, their younger, do you get the younger generation, you can contribute. So I would like to think that part of my legacy would be that I have contributed to change and to these social attitudes about what you can do regardless of your size, because it always comes back to my size, but it's like I'm just me, you know. So